Hello and welcome back. This week's video I was trying to do some kind of sketch. I wanted to not really try to do a finished painting super fast, but instead try to come up with a quick composition and something to establish sort of like a fantasy image with a character in the forest, yada yada. But I wanted to do that and then without the intention of trying to finish it. So I was kind of acting as like something that I can revisit later. I started out with a pencil drawing, not pencil drawing, a digital drawing, and you see me like doing like little hatches and crossing. So I was looking at, I think it was like a statue of gotta find that image of it. I guess like I can't even tell if it's a boy or a girl, but they have their hand on their collarbone. It looked really interesting, like the way the hand was bent down and the fingers were kind of like orienting onto the body. So that was pretty cool. So anyway, I did that, went ahead and colored it, and I took an old painting that I did, and it's a painting from a long time ago. Not a long, well, I guess within the last year. And I just took it and then I made it a different color. So I just shifted it to green, pretty much to skip the whole process of trying to figure out colors. I mean, I knew I wanted it to be green-ish, like greenish, because I wanted it to feel like a kind of foresty thing. Anyway, I was looking at this comment, the recent comment from Brett. So I'm just going to answer this comment and then see where it goes from there, because it was a pretty good question. So it was the following. Your inspirations or the people who influence your style are very classic. Do you think that was a big part of still being successful as an artist? I don't follow a lot of classical artists or browse any traditional paintings for that matter, outside of what my high school course makes me. Am I wrong in following modern artists like digital art, like Sakimi-chan or Zeronis being the most well-known examples I could give, or should I start looking into classical art and be influenced by them as well? Interesting question. Well, I mean, Sakimi-chan and Zeronis, they're both very incredibly talented individuals. Zeronis he's pretty awesome. I actually went to school with him. Pretty cool guy. We had good times. Anyway, so here's my advice on that, and it's pretty much, it's pretty much a no-brainer until you don't realize that until it's kind of made obvious to you, in that follow whatever you like. There's no like set rules of like, oh, you're supposed to study the classical stuff, or you're supposed to study only yada yada, or whatever. So the benefit, though, if I was to say, go check out classical art, is that you kind of see the history of how they used to paint, and when you know how to paint traditionally, then you can easily transfer that kind of process and information to digital. But if you're not interested in it, like if you're not a fan of John Singer Sargent and the way he controls the brush and how he moves the color around, etc., then there's no reason to, like, if you don't like that, then why would you study it? It's like there's also a lot of industrial design influenced artwork out there, but it's all perspective drawing, it's all ellipses and constructive kind of lines and ellipses, etc. But not everybody wants to do that. So why would you follow or like be interested in studying that? Well, you don't have to. Like I said, there's no rules. But if you find a way to find something interesting in everything out there, not everything, but all these things that teachers might say, or that I might say, whether it's classical or comic books or video games, you get to expand your mental library of things that you can kind of pick from and say, well, I like this thing that John Singer Sargent did, but it's, to me, kind of outdated. So what I'm going to do is take that thing and then sort of interpret it in my own way. Or I'm going to look at so-and-so comics and then see how they do a bunch of dynamic poses and then take that and interpret it through my way. And then sneak in a little bit of a Sargent brushwork here, or, after you've studied it or whatever. And then what ends up happening is it speaks to you, right? It's a reflection of what you like. When you ask, in your question, you say, am I wrong in following modern artists? Well, it's not that it's wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, it seems, though, I would say that a lot of that type of art is, it's super popular, right? And it's made popular for a couple of reasons. It's very well done, right? The design, there's the art aspect of, color, character, communicating story through painting, lighting, and it's very, appealing, right? But on top of that, a lot of that stuff is based on existing characters. And so when it's fan art, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing fan art, but you might be interested in it because it's your favorite character, or you might think that it's a lot better just because it's a painting of Batman, or I don't know, any character from your favorite show. And so it's kind of difficult. Like okay, so with regard to classical work or even modern work that has classical influences, so like Craig Mullins, he understands oil painting because he studied it, and so he references John Singer Sargent, Sorolla, Zorn, right? But if you look at his art, it's not necessarily appealing to pretty much anyone who's not into concept art, or like it. And it often has to be explained to people why his work is good. Whereas if you put something in front of people that's a painting of their favorite character, they're like, oh, yeah, here we go. It's awesome. So it's not wrong that you follow artists that do that. In fact, I kind of would like to do more fan art. Because I like characters too. I have favorite TV shows and favorite comic book heroes and stuff. So, but I would suggest to allow yourself to step out, or just step back and take a look at what you want to do, and if you want to be able to do certain paintings that look traditional, I would say study traditional, and then at the foundation, of course, right? And it doesn't mean you have to follow the list that I gave you. Because you can go to a museum, like if you're in New York, you go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and you could walk around there for days and still not be able to see it all. But you can, if you look at like the paintings by Jerome, they're beautiful, vibrant, colorful paintings, and they're so small and look so believably real, and that might have an impact on you, and you can try to sort of have find your own way to do something like that. But the thing about following artists, whether they're dead, classic artists, or if they're alive, or if they're super popular, the thing is, like, you also have to remember that you yourself are an individual. Like you too can have a voice, right? But if you assume that what's already popular or what's already successful is the standard of what it takes to be successful, like you kind of limit yourself. And if you limit it to, if my work doesn't have the same qualities, as so-and-so, then it's not worthy. So, right? And then so you might take that art and be like, it's not good enough, so I'm not going to do this anymore, right? Or you won't post it or whatever. And I've dealt with that myself too. So oftentimes I'll do a painting and be like, well, it doesn't look like a masterpiece that, within the first 10 minutes, and it doesn't look like all my other favorite artists, so what's the point? So it's detrimental. So again, I'd say, like, study artists, study your favorite artists, and allow yourself to kind of explore on your own, like who are you as an individual, because nobody wants to see, oh, this is the best imitator of that artist, right? Like any artist today can look at someone as amazing as Kim Jong-gi, and how incredible he is at drawing things and coming up with wonderful, beautiful, illustrative things and perspective without erasing all that kind of stuff. You can break down on how to do that, right? And I could spend the next several years or whatever, the 10, 20 years trying to perfect his style, right? But then, I think many artists can do it. But the problem is, it's just an imitation. Why follow in somebody else's shadow just to prove that you can do what they do? Like, think about it. Even if you do that, like, so what? It's like, you don't want to be known as the person who is just good at copying that other person. And so, study people, but don't try to be them, because then it's just you lose your own individuality. And I believe that everyone has something to offer, one way or another, no matter who you are. You all have your own experiences. I have my own experiences. Kim Jong-gi has his own experience. Any artist out there wants to share their own passion. So I wouldn't assume that someone else's passion is the only way to show how to do something, if that makes sense. It's funny, clicking through the painting, the process video, I'm looking back, and I actually like the earlier version, like when it was still 30 minutes in. It probably is not lined up with what is on the screen now, because I think it's going to be sped up, but I'm like, I don't like how it ended up, so maybe I'll just, since it's all saved on video, I could just rewind and then take the part that I do like and then just work from there. And I guess that's the point of iterative processes, and you just do it a couple times. What I mean is, you don't have to stick with your final, right? You can go back and say, well, I liked it here, and then that's what I'm going to stick with. And so I ended up making it a bit too warm, and I think in the beginning it was more greenish, so I'm going to bring that back. I think this ratio of the canvas size is actually, I think, similar to the magic card size. I'm really kind of interested in trying out more fantasy paintings like that, and they're kind of fun to explore because there's no rules, right? When you're doing something like this, you don't have to be this has to be according to this story or anything. It's more here's kind of a feeling, right? Maybe a magical, mysterious, mystical spirit, elf, whatever in the forest, and just paint that. It's kind of I suppose more free than trying to undergo the pressure of writing out a story and designing a character and then coming up with all of this the backstory and why she's looking the way she's looking, whatever. That kind of stuff really gets in the way of me trying to do stuff, whether it's designing or painting. Overthinking. Try not to overthink stuff. I think when you overthink something, you really end up getting derailed of your original intent in the first place, which is, I think, to do something creative, to make some kind of art or communicate a fun little story. And I think I mentioned in my last video, and I'm really happy about the overwhelming positive response about the whole creativity issue, and it's still something that I'm struggling with. But I think having talked about it and just putting it out there on video or on YouTube or whatever has actually helped me a lot. So in a way, it just by acknowledging it or addressing it just automatically sets in my subconscious that it's something that I want to get rid of, right? So that was pretty good. So maybe I'll just actively seek out things I want to fix about my approach and talk about it, and then just hope it works out. So yeah, if you ever feel like you're being held back by something, say it out loud, record it, or write it down. One of my favorite things to do is if I have a problem, is I go to a whiteboard, whether it's at work or here. I have a whiteboard at home with a dry erase marker, and I literally just write out the exact whatever my brain is thinking, like anything that is happening in my brain. I write that down and write it out until like I can see what's going on and why, like what is stopping me from, succeeding in whatever, overcoming that obstacle. And it's been pretty good, if you will, right? So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up, and I think I have a lot of stuff in store for everybody, everyone here on YouTube, and got some cool things. I think I've been pushing myself a bit much and trying to get a lot of things done, and I end up staying up really late. Like right now, I should be sleeping, but yeah. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, watching, and I'll be updating you guys on what I'm doing. I know I mentioned before I'm doing a contest to, if you're interested, it's not for everyone, because not everyone wants to do a contest, and not everyone wants to win. But the grand prize for the contest that I'm making right now is going to be a full sketchbook full of my drawings, original. It's going to be like straight up, and it's like, I think it's going to be pretty fun, because I just bought the sketchbook. It's I forgot what brand it is, but it's going to take about 12 weeks to fill it up. So the contest will take probably 12 weeks. I just did the math, and I'm like, I think it's going to be fun. But, and I'm going to give you a hint, it's not going to be an art contest. It's not going to be randomly selected names. It's going to be something that's going to push you outside of your comfort zone. And so, stay tuned for that. I think it's going to be fun, because it's something that I want to do for myself as well. So anyway, I guess this is it. All right, farewell until next week. Well, I might try to put another video sooner. We'll see. All right, goodbye. Thank you for watching and listening. Happy art. Click.